A scheme for rare earth permanent magnets was launched in 2025 November. We now propose to support the mineral-rich states of Odisha, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu to establish dedicated rare earth corridors to promote mining, processing, research and manufacturing.
All right, on this historic day, February 1st, 2026, the first Sunday budget presentation in Indian history, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman unveiled a game-changing initiative in the Union Budget 26-27. The establishment of dedicated rare earth minerals corridors in 4 key states. This announcement comes at a pivotal moment when the world is scrambling for control over rare earth elements, those 17 obscure metals that power our smartphones, electric vehicles, wind turbines, defense missiles and even AI data centers. They're not just commodities, they are the linchpin of the green energy revolution and high-tech dominance. Hello and welcome, you're watching NewsX with me, Vineet Malhotra, and today let's take a look at India's rare earth as it stands as compared to, of course, China. But why now is the big question. Well, global supply chains are fragile, dominated by one player, that is of course China. India, with its own vast reserves and surging demand, is finally stepping up in this extended analysis. We'll dissect China's iron grip, India's current lag, the fresh budget boost, and what it all means for self-reliance. Well, buckle up, this is about geopolitics, economics and the future of technology. Let's start with the elephant in the room, China. Well, Beijing is not just a player, it's the referee, coach and star athlete in the rare earth game. China boasts around 44 million metric tons of reserves, which according to USGS is about 37 to 48% of the world's total, estimated at 90 to 120 million tons. These reserves are mainly concentrated in the Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region, the Sichuan province, the Jiangxi province and Guangdong province, Shandong and a few more. In fact, the Bayan Obo mining district near Baotou city is the world's largest redeposit, primarily rich in bastnasite and monazite ores containing light rees like neodymium. It's a sparsely populated area, but mining here supplies the bulk of China's output. But reserves are potential. The real power lies in production. In 2025, China mined over 270,000 tons, capturing 60 to 70% of global output. That's more than the rest of the world combined together, including runners-up like Australia that mined around 18,000 tons in 2025 and the US that produced 15,000 tons. But why does the rest of the world fall behind that badly? Well, the real chokehold is in processing. China refines 85 to 90% of the world's rare earths, turning messy ores into pure oxides, metals and alloys for sintered neodymium iron boron permanent magnets, the super strong ones in EV motors, wind generators and hard drives. China produces 90 to 95% globally. Heavy rare earths like dysprosium and terbium, crucial for high temperature performance. Well, China controls 98 to 90% of separation capacity. This monopoly isn't benign. In 2025, China imposed stricter export controls on rare earth technologies and materials, citing national security. Prices skyrocketed. Neodymium oxide hit over 700,000 Chinese yuan per ton, up to 50% from 2024. Countries like the US, Japan and India felt the pinch, with supply disruptions rippling through industries. Remember the 2010 rare earth crisis when China cut exports to Japan by 40% amidst a territorial dispute? Well, history repeats and it's a reminder. Dependency on China is a strategic vulnerability in an era of trade wars and tech decoupling. Environmentally, China's dominance comes at a cost. Toxic mining practices have polluted rivers and soils in regions like Bayan Obo, but they've invested heavily in cleaner tech to maintain their edge. Globally, this imbalance fuels initiatives like the US CHIPS Act and EU's Critical Raw Materials Act, but China remains ahead, with state-backed giants like China Northern Rare Earth Group leading the charge. Now, pivot to India. We are not starting from zero. We rank 5th globally in reserves with 6.9 to 8.52 million tons, or 5 to 8% of the world total. These are primarily monazite sands in coastal belts. Kerala's Chavara, rich in thorium-linked reefs, Odisha's Chhatrapur, Andhra Pradesh's Vishakhapatnam area, and Tamil Nadu's Manva Larkuchi. A recent 2026 discovery in Karnataka's Gundlupete adds 6.35 million tons, but it's early days. Yet production tells a different story. Just 2,900 tons annually, under 1% of global output, placing us 7th worldwide. Why is there a gap? Well, historically, underinvestment, regulatory hurdles in sensitive ecosystems, and a focus on exporting raw concentrations rather than building processing plants. We import 80 to 90% of our rare earth needs, mostly from China, costing over $221 million in 2025 alone. Domestic demand is exploding from 2,900 tons today to 8,220 tons by 2030, driven by India's EV push, renewables, and defense modernization. The challenges are multifaceted, including environmental risks like beach erosion and radioactive thorium waste from monazite processing, technological lags like lack in advanced separation tech for heavy reefs, and policy inertia. Though that's changing, without action, we'll remain a buyer in a seller's market, vulnerable to China's whims. Coming back to today, just hours ago at 11 a.m. Indian Standard Time, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman announced the government's support to the mineral-rich states of Odisha, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu to establish dedicated rare earth corridors to promote mining, processing, research and manufacturing. These corridors will transform these states into hubs for the entire value chain, leveraging their monazite deposits to attract investments and create jobs. Experts hail it as a serious and structured effort, emphasizing the need for an end-to-end domestic chain in EVs, wind energy and defense. Internationally, tie-ups like PAC Silica's US partnership add firepower environmentally. While not detailed today, the scheme nods to sustainable practices under Net Zero 2070. In essence, China's towers with 70% production and 90% processing, while India trails at 1% output and near total imports. But today's corridors